Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me your Tuesday evening. I know uh, it's a very nice day, at least if you're in Australia, if you're in Melbourne, it's a beautiful day. And you could have done so many things, but you chose to come here. So that means a lot to me. Today, we're going to explore relationship synastry in Vedic astrology. And before we start, let's just remember that our teachers and gurus. So if you've been studying astrology or if you've been studying anything else ever in your life, right? Then I'm sure you have some teacher figures, you have some guru figures in your life. So just to invoke auspiciousness and to embody gratitude, let's remember all our gurus, guides, and teachers who have given us so much in our life. Like especially, I'm very grateful. None of what I'm presenting today have I just figured out myself. I'm absolutely honest. Like everything I'm going to teach you today is nothing that I figured out myself, just like that. No, it is things that my teachers have taught me. And then I've applied it and I have some my own comments and realizations on it. But at the end of the day, it is all by because I'm connected to an amazing tradition and to amazing people. So let's honor that. Om Jnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. That's a standard verse from the Gotamiya Tantra, which is an ancient classic, and it just invokes the teachers and it recognizes that we're all born in this world and we don't know anything, right? If you look at a baby's face, they're like here and they're crying and they have no idea where they are and what they're doing. But then it is because of their parents or later because of their gurus and guides that they get educated about who they are and what life is all about, right? So I think it's a very beautiful verse. Now, to start this class, I took another verse here from Prashna Marga. Prashna Marga, I have it here. It comes in two parts. It's a real book. I didn't make it up. Yeah, it's a South Indian text that got written down only 500 years ago. So it's a very recent astrological text. Those who have been studying with me for longer usually we read Parshara, which is who authored his astrological text more than 5,000 years ago. So Prashnamaga is a really new edition, but it's a great text. And in Prashnamaga, the author Narayana Bhattacharya, he has one chapter on compatibility, and it's quite limited to the full range of compatibility. But he teaches some nice techniques that are widely used in India today that, according to my opinion, are heavily overused, to be honest. But he has some nice things to say about relationships. So as a little disclaimer, he says at the very end of the chapter that if the couple love each other, then they can enter into wedlock. Because, it was in India, it was 500 years ago. So if you start the relationship, usually it was with the intent of marriage. So a little cultural disclaimer here. If the couple love each other, they can enter into wedlock, even if there is no agreement in other ways. This is very important in the matter of marriage. One who loves a girl sincerely from his heart should marry her. Pure love is greater than any other virtue. What is love? Well, Caleb is really philosophical. Well, love, I mean, you tell me, Caleb. Tell me.
I don't know. I used to think it was like sacrifice and selflessness. But I think love is bigger than that. Um, and I used to think when I was much younger that it was like um, feelings and the butterflies in the stomach. But I also think it's it's not that. So that's why it's a genuine question. Like, what is love? I think
Sure.
it's I don't know. I think many people have a different definition of love depending on where you come from as well. Like if you come from a traumatic childhood background, you think love is chaotic because that's what you identify, that's what you're familiar with, you know. And if you come from a secure, steady background, then love to you would seem peaceful, you know.
Mm,
So, but both, even though it's different interpretations of love, I think both people when they whether you come from a traumatic or a peaceful, stable background, both they're very sincere in their meaning. They sincerely think that that is love to them.
sure.
So I think sincerity is also not a good gauge in what you define love to be as well.
Sure.
So I honestly have a question mark on it. I don't know.
Sure, appreciate your point. It is true, especially if you have a background maybe from a traumatic family, or even if you had some traumatic relationships in the past, you like really question, especially after breakup, is love real, right? So it's a valid question. It's a great question. And actually, I took out the commentary of the text. I just give you the verse, but all the classics, they always get read with commentary. And in the commentary, the B.V. Raman, he writes that it is true if there's true love between a couple, which goes very deep, then it does not matter what are the astrological considerations. They have the blessings, and they are encouraged to continue. However, the commentator writes that in our modern day, and that was like 100 years ago, in our modern day, many people when they come together for relationships, they don't have this pure love, they don't have this pure intention, but they often enter this relationship with that expectation that I want to be satisfied, I'm doing this because it gives me pleasure. But love is the exact opposite of just really sacrificing, etc. So that verse exists. However, it has to be taken into caution. Some other commentators, they say that even though love supersedes all other astrological combinations, in general, if two horoscopes are very incompatible, then there will be so much suffering in that connection that no common man or woman will be able to stay in that relationship. Unless, because unless love is so big, we don't mind going through all the pain. Does that make sense? So that is one way of looking at it. I mean, you can meditate on that. I just wanted to throw that in the beginning, that there is some space for that too.
Can I put in 2 cents here?
Pardon?
Can I put in my 2 cents here?
Please.
I think I just wanted to say that I feel like true love comes from a selfless place.
100%.
It comes from a place of not wanting it for you, but wanting,
100%.
That would be my definition. Like if you break it down as my action for my own benefit, then that's not true love.
And that is why he says, if there's true love, then the chart doesn't matter. Because if they're incompatible, he or she's going to suffer so much, but because they love the other person, they don't mind. Right? So that is why he says that. By the way, welcome, Alexandrova. So nice to have you here. First time, so welcome. Okay. So now, in general, I just have a little disclaimer here. Compatibility is actually a little bit complicated. It is not that you're 90 minutes going to master compatibility according to astrology. Astrology is a science like anything good in the world. It takes a little bit of time. So I just wrote a quick overview of maybe approximately 20 factors that I would look at if I would do synastry, having studied astrology for a number of years. And of all these points here, I'm going to introduce you to point 13 and 14 and point number 18. So that is what we're going to dive into today. But I want you to understand that of what we are going to cover today, that's only 10% of the full picture. Because in 90 minutes, it is impossible to lie down every single aspect of compatibility. And in the West, compatibility, it's taken with a little bit of, it's like taken with a sense of entertainment, right? Oh, the couple, they're together for like 6 months or 10 years, and then they go to the astrologer and like, oh, are we compatible? Can you tell us? Or or sometimes people, they've been together for 3 years and then they want to get married, and then they come to the astrologer, are we compatible? Right? Or they've been married for 10 years and then they ask. So it's a little different to India, because in India, often people, they would go to the astrologer, they have not even met the person. Or maybe even the parents would go to the astrologer and they would check beforehand. And then they would present the astrologer 5 horoscopes. And then they would say, of those 5, which one is better? So there's a very different context. But in India, they take it a bit more serious for that reason. And the first thing they would traditionally check, just so that you understand like the whole overview of this. Traditionally, the first thing the astrologer would check is longevity. Like how long are both people going to live? Because if you're going to enter a relationship for the rest of your life, well, the synastry can be amazing, but what if one person has a short life and the other person has a long life? Like after they get married when they're 25, and then by 35, boom, one person leaves. Bad astrology, right? They were not compatible. So that is the first thing they check. And then the second factor is their health, like also their mental health, right? What if one person goes crazy, right? It's important. Also, you don't want to forget that. Then we can want to look at the physical fitness, etc. Maybe social status can matter, finances, future, children, general harmony in the horoscope. All these points, they're quite important. So we can see in general, before even matching two horoscopes, we want to look at the individual baggage. So because our individual baggage comes first. What is our destiny? What is our karma, right? Are we having a long life? Are we having good mental health? Are we physically fit? Are we going to be wealthy? How many kids are we going to have? Do we want kids, right? First, the individual matters, and that's what is usually looked at first. And that is why relationship synastry traditionally is taught only after basics in astrology, maybe after the first year, after the second year. Once a person really knows how to read a horoscope, okay, then we look into synastry. But here we want to give you a little bit of a view into the world. Okay, Alexandra, no problem. Thank you, though.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's nice to see your face. You've been in my school for like 7 months or 8 months, and now finally I can put a face to your name.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
Have a good one. Sorry.
thank you. No problem. Then next we can look at the synastry between two people. So usually we will look at the lagna, we look at the moon, we look at the upapada. The upapada is every single marriage can be seen from the horoscope, and we want to have some synchronicity between the story of the persons. Then we have something that's called Ghataka. Ghataka means Ghataka is that which causes accidents. So if one person is the Ghataka of another person, it means that person can cause an accident for the other person. So it's very important in our modern world where there's so much, there's this rise of violence in relationships, etc., especially in Australia and every country in the world, to be honest. So that is what
Can I
Ghataka
quickly
is.
ask a question, please?
Tell me.
The lagna matching, that's the ascendant, right?
It's the ascendant, exactly.
So I know you don't want to touch on that today, but just can you quickly, like, does that mean like, do you want the ascendants to be compatible? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. For example, if you are Taurus ascendant and Taurus is like, so Taurus ascendants go best with other Taurus ascendants, or with Virgo ascendants, or with Capricorn ascendants, or with Scorpio ascendants. Like initially, there will be a lot of liking if it's one of them. While if a Taurus ascendant comes together with a Libra ascendant or Sagittarius ascendant, there will be a natural disconnect at first. And why, we could explain, but we could spend an hour on that. So I would like to teach you. And in the future, you're learning with me at the moment. So in the future, I will teach you that too. For today, I chose the Kuta system and Sambandha. So, but certain lagnas go with others. And I will tell you more about that at the end. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
And you see, since you study astrology, it's very easy. Just think about your horoscope. You think about, you have the 6th house of enemies, you have the 8th house of death, you have the 12th house of loss, right? Imagine you meet a person who has that ascendant. And every time you meet them, they will activate your house of loss or the house of death or the house of enemies. So naturally, there's a little bit more of hesitancy or hesitance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is how we do it.
Interesting.
But it's there's a lot to it, and I just had to choose something of all the things that are there. So
We
next time.
are we able to intuitively sense this? Like saying the
Yeah,
6th, 8th, 12th house, like even though a person may not know astrology, but they may intuitively sense, oh, this
of
person is
course.
gonna bring me death or loss.
Of course. You will maybe not sense death loss, but you would sense there's something negative about it. Just if you think about it as well, usually the lords of the 5th, 7th, or 9th house or the ascendant, they're usually friends or neutral. Particularly 5th or 9th are usually friends. And let's say you are a Martian ascendant, right? So Mars is enemies with Mercury, right? Mars, he doesn't like Mercury. So naturally, when you meet Mercury ascendants, there could be a little bit more feeling of like, not exactly for me, right? Like if a person becomes like really geeky, naturally you might feel a bit more repelled because you're that Martian ascendant. So yeah, you can ask me at the end of class and we can go into it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Then now in India, what is very common, we have what's called in South India, I think they call it Dashavida Purutam, or in North India they call it Ashtakuta. And Ashta means 8, Kuta means categories. So it is a system of analyzing 8 categories and giving points for that. And people really like it because it gives points and it gives a score, right? And we really like things that give that gives something, that gives scores, right? Like imagine you go to your astrologer and he tells you, oh, you and this person, you are 20 out of 36 points compatible, or you're 32 points compatible out of 36, right? People like it. It's something like easy and tangible. And because it is so simple, everyone uses it, and it has been completely misused. And some people use only that, right? Out of all the points that I hear, out of all these, they just use this one thing, and then they enter wedlock because of that. Especially many Indian girls, and maybe Western girls as well, who find out about it. They learn this one thing, and then immediately they Google and they find out how many points we have, and then they base their whole dating life according to that. But we want to understand it's just one part of the picture. It's an important part, but just one. And we're going to learn about that today as an entry into compatibility. Then there's a lot of other things we could consider. And then lastly, there is planetary sambandha, which is a little bit similar to matching lagnas. We can also match the planets. And I'm going to teach that today, Andy. So that'd be really cool. And then lastly, there's what's called the Vivaha Prashna. And Vivaha means marriage, Prashna means question. The time the person approaches the astrologer is the most important in giving results about the compatibility. Even if both parties are compatible, if they approach the astrologer at an inauspicious time and the Prashna indicates there's a problem, then you don't even have to check all the other 19 points, right? So there's this whole, there's a bit more to it. Okay, now, so much on that. That is the big picture. Let's zoom in. So the Dashavida Purutam or Ashtakuta, Dashavida means 10 and or 12, Ashta is 8. And some astrologers, they have chosen to simplify marriage, they've chosen 8 categories or they've chosen 12 categories. If you read some of the classics, like I earlier quoted Prashna Marga, right? Prashna Marga gives 23 sources of agreement. And Muhurta Chintamani, which is another classic, gives another one, which means 24. So commonly we could say, even though there's more, popular there are about 24 sources of agreements. And of those 24, 8 have become super popular, and 8 have been given points by B.V. Raman, who's a famous astrologer who revived astrology about 100 years ago. Let's have a quick look at them. Okay, and particularly those 12 here on this list, they are, they are quite important. So those are what we're going to learn today. And these sources of agreement, they are only based on the moon sign and the nakshatra of the moon. Because the moon, of all the planets, and I hope you're not bewildered by the slide, okay? I was thinking twice when I was designing them. The moon tells us about our emotional mind, right? The moon tells us about our mother. And our mother determines the state of our emotions and our mind, and also how we bond with other people. Because the mother, she's the first other person. So depending on our moon sign, we have a unique way of bonding with people, bonding with society, and establishing relationships. And even though Venus and love is important in relationships, but you know how they say that love wears off like after 15 months or 17 months, right? Eventually the hormones, they just go off. So we can look at Venus for whom we be attracted to initially. But if you want to go the long way, then you cannot do compatibility based on Venus. You really have to look at the moon, because especially once people live together, it's the moon. The moon is also our home, right? Our heart. And for the moon, this system, it only evaluates 2 points of the moon. It evaluates the sun sign, right? Everyone knows about the sun sign, right? Is there anyone in the class who has never heard of the sun signs before? No, great. And then it also evaluates the nakshatras. So has anyone here of the nakshatras heard before? Great, cool. So behind the 12 zodiac signs in Western astrology, we have a group of 27 nakshatras. And these nakshatras, they greatly flavor the zodiac. Like the beginning of Aries is really different to the end of Aries. And that is because of the overlay behind the zodiac. And where does it come from? We're going to speak about as well. So now going back to this list, this list analyzes the moon sign and the moon nakshatra. Welcome, Eleni, by the way. So nice. Some people in this room, they have studied astrology with me for a few weeks, so it's a little bit higher than entry level, but I will make it so that you can also follow. And everyone who is new to astrology can also follow. Okay, so of these 23, 12 we're going to discuss today. The first one is called Dina. Dina basically just means if the birth star is compatible. And this birth star compatibility, it will determine on a mental level if we feel we can vibe with that other person, if we can connect to them. Then the next point is Gana, and Gana means temperament. So according to the moon sign, the classics differentiate between 3 people of different temperaments. There is Deva. Deva means they are a little bit more selfless and very giving. They have a very soft temperament, and they're very light-hearted. For those who know Ayurveda, it's a bit more connected to the mode of sattva and goodness. Then there's the Manushya temperament. Manushya means human, but it just means they have a little bit more passion. For them, it's a bit more about advancing in society, maybe about status, about economic development. And then there's Rakshasa. Rakshasa means, in the Vedic histories, it's like demons and man-eaters and things like that. But Rakshasa just means those are persons, they value power and control, a little bit more harsh, a little bit more go-getters. And we compare these ganas, they're very important. Then Mahendra is a special combination that just ensures there's a lot of nurture and prosperity in a relationship. There's Shri Dirga, which is said to give longevity and fortune to the wife. But what it actually means is that the moon of the partner comes after the moon of usually the moon of the woman comes after the moon of the man, and therefore it is easier for the men to understand the woman, while it's a little harder for her to completely follow him. And in ancient days, in the days of yore, they said that was better because he will get her faster, and therefore she will feel more held. Indeed, all of the points that are given here, they always try to support the woman in the relationship. But we could speak about 1 hour about that, but because we have to move on, I just mentioned that. Yoni refers to sexual compatibility, which is also really important. If there is enmity according to Yoni, then not only will there be a lot of frustration in their sexual connection, but also there will be a bit more disharmony in their any romantic dealings, not just in intimacy, but even in their day-to-day dealings. There will be a little bit more of enmity. People will not get each other. Then we have moon sign compatibility, which is a little bit similar to the Lagna that I mentioned earlier with Andy. Then we have Rasya Dipa, which also means if people can be friends with each other. Vasya, which means who will have the upper hand in the relationship. Nadi is not traditionally included in Prashnamarga, but is very heavily used today. If there's Nadi, then it ensures there is health for the children. If Nadi is not present, then it means that there are similar doshas according to Ayurveda, and they can impact the health of the progeny. So if the couple doesn't want to have children, hey, you don't have to care about Nadi, right? It doesn't. I mean, it can matter a little bit, but not as much. And then there's Veda. If Veda is present, it just indicates there's a lot of enmity between the couple. And then there's Varna, which speaks a little bit about their psycho-spiritual development. So those are the 12 points we're going to explore today. And you actually don't have to know anything about astrology. Is this list based on importance? There is an importance, and we're going to speak about it soon. Yeah. This list is just in the direction that I check. But in terms of ranking, different people give different points to it. But in terms of ranking, usually people give 8 points for Nadi, 7 points for Raju, 6 points for, 5 points for Raju, 7 points for Rashyadipa, 6 points for, I think for Rashi. Dina gives 3 points, Gana gives 3 points, Mahendra Yoni gives 4 points, Varna gives 1 point, Vasya gives 2 points, and those don't give points, but we check them. I think, yeah. So we look at that. We'll look at that. Okay. Why is Varna 1 point? We will get there. We will get there. But for now, these 5 points, and the cool thing is these 5 points you can actually understand. You don't have to know anything about astrology. Like, you don't have to know much about astrology to check these points. And that's why this technique is just heavily overused today as well. Okay. Let's first of all understand these techniques. What do we have to know? Well, we have to know that there's 12 star signs, and we have to know that there's 27 nakshatras. So just as a quick refresh, does anyone here know why there's 12 star signs and not 13 or 15 or 2? Any takers? Each star sign is 30 degrees. Sure, and there's 360 degrees in a circle. And so therefore it's 12. Why is there not 400 degrees in a circle?
.400 means you overlap the 360.
Okay, sure. Anyone come on, please. Why is there 12 zodiac signs?
I think it relates to the hours of the day.
Oh, because there's 24 hours in a day? So there's 12.
There's 12 hours in the day and then 12 hours at night.
Oh, like that. Okay. Why is there 12 hours in a day?
Or maybe it's related to time more, you know?
Yeah, I like it. Tell me more about that.
60, 60 minutes in an hour or that kind of thing.
And 60 times 3 divided by 10 minus 6 is 12.
I think like every 2 hours you move into a new ascendant, and so there's There's 24 hours, so therefore 2 times 12 is 24 hours.
Sure. Sure, great. So that's why we have 24 hours. We have 24 hours because there is 12 zodiac signs, and they have
Yeah.
both a male and a female part. So therefore, every hour is kind of you like that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
that doesn't answer. That explains why we have 24 hours, but not why we have 12 zodiac signs.
Right. I
But
see.
okay, okay, sure. You are really good, and I like your ideas. Very creative. So the zodiac signs, they are based. Yeah, we call them sun signs because they're actually based on the sun. And I want to show this to you. I think this is really cool. So I hope you like astrology. Otherwise, you might not think it is so cool as I think. So how long does the Earth take around the sun?
24 hours.
No,
365 days.
365 days.
I
Exactly.
heard that one.
And that is why we have 360 degrees in a circle. Okay. So the Earth takes 365 days to go around the sun. And then the moon, for lack of better color, moon and purple, okay. The moon goes around the Earth and he takes about 27 and a half days to go around the Earth. But because the Earth, after 27 and a half days, has moved, the moon, he needs another 2 days to complete his rotation around the Earth because the Earth has moved. So the moon takes 29 and a half days to go around the Earth. That means in 1 year, in one rotation of the Earth around the sun, the moon will rotate around the Earth 12 times. That is what we call a lunar month, right? And that is why all the months, they have 29 or 30 days. Because once upon a time, before Alexander the Great and before the Pope, the days of the year were connected, the months of the year were connected to the movement of the Earth around the sun. And the first day of the month was the movement of the sun into a new sign. So just by looking at your calendar, you would immediately know where the sun is placed or where the moon is placed, depending on if you have a solar or lunar calendar. Now, okay, all of that short, the sun is considered the father, the moon is considered the mother. So after 29 days, the sun and the moon, they will be in one line. And their union, and it is taught that the sun, the Pratyadi Devata of the sun is Lord Shiva. The Pratyadi Devata of the moon is Devi, is Gauri. So when they come together, then they have a baby. And that baby are the zodiac signs. So the zodiac signs, according to tradition, they are born according to the conjunction of the moon and the sun. And since that happens 12 times, we have 12 zodiac signs. And therefore the zodiac signs are not just a division of space, but they're also a division of time, of those 29 days, of those 30 days. And that is why there's 12 zodiac signs. And even though it is both the sun and the moon, it is very much connected to the Earth's complete rotation around the sun. And therefore we say sun sign. So the sun signs naturally have a little bit more of masculine energy. Now, that is all we use in Western culture because Western culture is really male-centric, right? Even our calendar, it is a little bit more male-centric. It has nothing to do with the moon. In ancient India, the calendar was also connected to the moon, and there was this whole integration of that. Now, the moon takes 27 and a half days to rotate around the Earth. If you would divide the sky according to the moon, then we have the lunar mansions. So I hope this makes sense to you. In easy language, the sun creates the sun signs and the moon creates the lunar mansions. And that is why we have two divisions of the zodiac. Now, everyone knows the zodiac signs. We have them on the left side. And in India, we also have the 27 nakshatras. If you want to learn about them, then you're welcome to join our beginner's course or our 1-year course, etc. But they all have a little bit of a different flavor. So now, for today's class, we're going to look at the nakshatra of the moon. We look at the lunar mansion of the moon. and we will look at the zodiac sign of the moon. And I have an example horoscope that I'm going to use. I have an example boy and girl that I'm going to use these techniques on. But we can do one more person if you wanted to, or you can do it in your own time. Is there any volunteer, anyone who wants to go on the side? Yeah, you want to go? Okay, great. So as we will go through this, we will look at these examples I have, and we will look at you. So can you give me, do you know the moon sign and moon nakshatra of the boy and the girl? Do you know the birth time of the two of them? Do you know the birth time? No. Well, we would need the birth time. Because if you have the birthday, then there's a little bit more variation. We would need at least like a few hour window to use these techniques. Okay.
You're talking to me, Kesri?
I was talking to Caleb, but do you know the birth time?
Oh, okay, cool.
Do you want to? Maybe can you write the can you send me a message with the respective birth times, and then I can tell you the moon sign and the moon nakshatra, and then as we go along, you can count the points for yourself. And all of you, you can all do the count after the class, or you can write me if you have any questions about it. But I have one example here, and I thought I can do one more person in class. Okay, so while Shagun is writing me, I will teach the first point. I will teach the first point. So the first point on our list is Dina. And Dina, usually persons give a 3-point weight to this. And Dina compatibility ensures that the couple stays healthy, free from disease, they enjoy all comforts of life. Absence of disagreement may lead to difference of opinion on day-to-day matters, leading to arguments and a lack of support for each other. Okay, yeah, I got the first one. Send me the second one as well. Now, the rule for Dina is that we count the lunar mansion of the boy from that of the girl, and then we divide the number by 9. If the remainder is 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0, then disagreement is present, and there's 3 points. It is fantastic. Or if the remainder is 1, 3, 5, or 7, then disagreement is not present. We have a little tension here. Yeah. So that is the technique. It's fairly easy, right? So for example, in our example here, this girl, traditionally the girl always comes first and then the boy. The moon is in Shravana nakshatra, right? And Shravana is number 22. And the boy has his nakshatra in Jyeshta. Jyeshta is the number 18, right? So how do I know this? Well, because I know the 27 nakshatras. Like how you know Aries, Taurus, Gemini, right? So I know we can also know the nakshatras. And we can see here the girl is Shravana and the boy is Jyeshta. So now we can count the nakshatra of the boy from that of the girl and divide the number by 9. So if we would do that, we count from number 22 to number 18. And I will do a quick count, 26, 25, 24. The result is 23. And then we take 9 out from 23, right? So 23 minus 9 is 14. 23, 24, 25, 26. Oh, excuse me. Then the count is 22. Like the count is 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ... And then once we come here, the count would be 22. So if we take number 22 and we divide it by 9. And this is Indian mathematics, which means we subtract 9. 22 minus 9 is 13. Is that correct? Yeah. And then 13 minus 9 is 4. I made a wrong count here. It is 4. And 4 means kshema, means, like it is in our auspicious list here, it means there's well-being, there's softness. So then you would give 3 out of 3 points, and that is a good match according to this. Does this make sense? Yeah, okay, great. So now for Shagun's example, luckily Shagun is very switched on, and she's very good in math, and very good in counting and in astrology. So she will quickly do this for her example. So let me just enter the birth details that she shared with me. 16th of July, 1987. 16th of July, 1987. 10:20 in Jalandhar. Okay. I just want to make sure I got the right time. So that is correct. Okay. So Shagun, do you have a pen and paper? Yeah. So the boy has his moon in Pisces, and the nakshatra is Uttara Bhadrapada. And then if you look at the girl, 27th of June. Just one moment. And then if you look at the girl, she has her moon in Scorpio, and the nakshatra related to that is Anuradha. Did you take note of that, Shagun? Yeah? Great. So now if we would use this technique, again, we would just have to look at our table here, and we will count from the girl to the boy. So from Anuradha to Uttara Bhadrapada. We have Anuradha here in different color, 17. And then we have Uttara Bhadrapada over here. So in Vedic astrology, we always use an inclusive count. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Count would be 10. Minus 9 gives 1. Right? So, oops. So here, it's a little bit of a dosha for this kutta. Does that make sense? Yeah? And so we would not give 3 points. Some villages in India, they would give 1 point. Some maybe would give 1.5. There's a deep teaching hidden here that we might speak about another time. The 3rd, 5th, and 7th, they are very, very bad numbers. While the 1st, it is okay. It is not as bad as it could get. Okay? And it's just 1 out of 100 things that we're going to look at. Yeah? Okay, great. Now, the second part of agreement is Ghana. And some view Ghana as compatibility in sexual compatibility. Others are of the opinion that it is the matching of minds and temperaments. We will go over the explanation of temperaments and character of the couple. So certain nakshatras, they are classified as deva, as you mentioned earlier. They're a little bit more sattvic, they're a little bit more peaceful, they're a little bit more selfless, right? And it's just one part of the chart, okay? And certain nakshatras, they're naturally a little bit more, they like to be in control, they like to have power, right? And then there's some which are in the middle. So in our example, the boy, he is Jyeshta, and the girl is Shravana, right? So we can see in this example, the girl, she's Deva, she's very selfless, she's very soft, while the boy, he's a little bit more harsh. He wants to control, he wants power. Doesn't mean that he's a bad person, but Jyeshta Nakshatra, it's a little bit more harsh, right? So now, if we would look at the list, oh, the girl, she's Deva. The boy is Rakshasa. Some people would give 3 points. Some people would give 1 point. Ideally, the rule is that it is best for persons to unite if they share the same gana, if they share the same temperament. But we can't have everything in life, right? So now, for your example, the moon is in, she was in Anuradha, and he, let's have a look, Anuradha, very something, Anuradha, and he was in Uttara Bhadrapada. Yeah, so she is, again, Deva, he is Manushya. Oh, well, it's not, according to this Kutta again, there's a different temperament, right? Is that the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. It's just another part. Okay. Next, we have Mahendra. Mahendra does not have any points assigned, but it is very auspicious if Mahendra exists. The rule is that the nakshatra of the boy counted from that of the girl should be 4th, 7th, 10th, 13th, 16th, 19th, 22nd, or 25th. And Prashnamaga even only says the 4th or the 7th. If this is there, then there will be prosperity, there will be children, right? So in our example, counting from Shravana to Jyeshta, oops, there's a little mistake on the slide. Oh, no, that actually is correct, yeah. Counting from Shravana to Jyeshta, there is no Mahendra agreement. The result is not 6, but if you would count, the result is... Oh, actually, I don't know what I was doing when I was doing these slides. The result is 22, so actually there is Mahendra. Mahendra does apply. That's great. That's great for these people. Now, in your horoscope that you gave me, the number was 10, right? So despite the fact that there was no Dina Kutta and there was not much Gana Kutta, Mahendra exists. And Mahendra is very auspicious. It is said, if Mahendra exists, then those marriages, they've been made in heaven. Isn't that a nice thing to say? Right? I'm sure Shagun is happy to hear that. I'm sure she knows the people that she's asking about. So that is there. And I know there was one Hollywood actress, I think Bollywood actress recently, she got married. She really took advantage of this and she got married. Just because they had Mahendra. And then it was Akshaya Tritiya, which is like a famous holiday in India. And they said, it doesn't matter what you do in Akshaya Tritiya. Like anything you do, it will last forever, you know. So then she took the chance, but I'm not sure if she's doing so well. So everything has to be taken with a grain of salt. Now the next point is Shri Dirga. Shri Dirga means if we count from the woman to the man, is it a longer way from the woman to the man than from the man to the woman? So some say the boy's nakshatra should be more than 7, some say more than 9, some say more than 13, some say more than 15. So we can see there's different gradations. But in general, the longer it is from the woman's nakshatra to the man's nakshatra, the shorter it will be from the man to the woman. And that generally means it is easier for him to get her. It's easier to pick up on something, right? Because in general, men often have a hard time, they say, to understand women. And maybe women have a hard time to understand men. But in Vedic culture, there was this concept just that And that was a different time, okay, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, on the other side of the ocean. But there was this idea that it is good for a man to, like, that usually a man has had the upper hand in a relationship back then. So if he can get his wife, that's a great advantage. And that was the whole idea between this. So in our example, Sri Dirga is present, and yeah, I don't know. I was drunk. I was sleeping when I did this. I maybe had a big lunch and I did it after lunch, but it is present. And in our example of Shagun, well, and the horoscopes she has given us, we could say it is moderate, 10 away. It is there to some extent. The next point is Yoni, and Yoni is extremely important. If Yoni is not present, like if there's 0 points for Yoni, there will be issues. And there are other factors which can give exceptions to the rule. But in general, there is an issue and it will be felt in the relationship. So I don't have much experience with this myself, but I have a lot of clients. And some of my clients, they are not so pious. And so I learned a lot about compatibility from these clients. So the rule is that ideally the men should have a male yoni and the woman should have a female yoni. That brings happiness to the relationship. It shows natural harmony, progeny, and adaptability. Now, further, there should be compatibility between the yonis. So how it works is that every nakshatra gets connected, and I'm not sure the sages, they have these divine insights, right? All of this actually comes down from the sages. And in their meditation, the sages, they realized that the different nakshatras, they have different sexual organs according to different animals. So we see some nakshatras, they have the yoni of a horse. Some have the yoni of an elephant. Some have the yoni of a cat or rat or cow, etc. And there are some pairs which are naturally incompatible. For example, if the man has the yoni of, if he has a yoni of a cat, right? And, or let's say he has a yoni of a rat and she has the yoni of a cat. There's some enmity, cats and rats that don't make friends, right? So also in there, there will be some, problem. The same is true for some other combinations. And yes, so there's a table that we can use that evaluates how these different animals compare with each other. And in general, even if there's 1 point, it is fine. If there's 4, it is excellent. But if there is no points, if there's enmity, it is a bit of a problem. So in our example horoscope, the boy is Jeshta. So, I didn't write the nakshatras here. Here it is. So the boy is Jeshta. Jeshta is connected to a male deer. And the girl is Shravana, which is connected to a female monkey. So already there's some compatibility because he has a male yoni and she has a female yoni. And then after that, we can have a look at the monkey and the deer. So if you look in our table, deer, monkey, 2 out of 4 points. Make sense? So now in our example of our students in class, we have Uttara Bhadrapada, which is a female cow. And we have Anuradha, which is a female deer. If both nakshatras are female, then there is not so much of a flaw. Ideally, the man has a male yoni, the woman has a female yoni. But if both of them have male yonis, there's a problem because there's too much masculine energy. It's just too excessive. If both of them have female yonis, it is better because it's just a little bit more, it's less agitative. So let's have a look at the cow and the deer. I actually cannot remember. So if we look at the cow, yeah, 3 points. That is nice, right? Cow, deer, 3 points. So for this couple, we can give 3 out of 4 points. Okay, let's skip that. Now, The next agreement is according to the Rashi and the moon sign compatibility. And again, we also look at the Lagna, but traditionally the moon sign, there's more emphasis on the moon sign. I personally think moon and Lagna are nearly equally important. India is a collectivistic culture, so society becomes much more important for person born in India in general, right? Society, community, neighbors, cousin, uncle, right? And therefore the moon becomes much more important in that horoscope, while Western culture is highly individualistic, so the Lagna is much more important, just all about me, right? So moon sign compatibility exists, or moon sign compatibility ensures growth of the family, birth of a son, of children, cordial relationship between daughter-in-law and her in-laws, right? What I'm saying about the moon and society. Yeah, I didn't make it up. Okay. And Madhvacharya, he says that if there's incompatibility, depending on the house, then there could be loss of money, sorrow, quarrel, misunderstanding, loss of children, disease, danger, separation, right? Money, second house, sorrow, third house, quarrels, fourth house, loss of children, fifth house, disease, sixth house, danger, eighth house, separation, 12th house. But for now, we just understand that some houses are better than others. The rule, if both the Rashis are the same, or are Sama Saptaka, which means they are seventh from each other, then that is good. So if both have the same moon sign, that is good. Or if the moon sign are opposite from each other, that is also good. It makes sense, right? Because if he has his moon in Scorpio, so he's like a little bit mysterious, and he has his wounded child and like very transformative personality. And she has a moon in Scorpio, which means she's also a little bit like, wounded child, deep knowledge of psychology, loves mysteries, a lot of depth, right? They understand each other. How wonderful. Now, the seventh Rashi is always something that is very is opposite that we desire. So also the seventh goes really well. That's also good. Now, if the Rashi of the boy is more than 6 from that of the girl, it is considered good. If it is 3 or 4, then it is moderate. If it is 2 or 5 or 6 or 8, then it is bad. There's an exception when both the signs are owned by one planet, or even if the lords are friendly, then the evil of this are reduced. For example, if the girl has her moon in Scorpio and the boy has his moon in, or it doesn't make sense that way. And the boy has his moon in Aries. Aries and Scorpio, they're 6 and 8 houses away from each other, right? Scorpio to Aries, Aries to Scorpio, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, 8, right? And then Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, 6. So naturally this would be saying disputes. But because they're both lorded by Mars, it is fine. So a little exception to the rule. In our example, she has a moon in Capricorn, he has his moon in Scorpio. That's from Scorpio to Capricorn, it's 3 signs, inclusive count, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. From Capricorn to Scorpio is 11. So here we have 5 points, ordinary. I mean, it's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. And in our other example of our student, we have the moon in Pisces of him, and hers is in Scorpio. So from Scorpio to Pisces, we count 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? So Jupiter and Mars are favorable. So it will reduce the blemish to some extent, according to some authors. But in practical reality, we would still expect, like, it can be sorted, but we would still expect a problem because it's 1-5, Madhava Acharya. He said, he would say loss of children. So it can indicate some problem with the first child or with children in that regard. it could, because the lords are friends, they can make create some harmony. And yeah, it's interesting because on one level, see this 5-9 relationship, it means from the man to the woman, right? 5 would be great, but from the woman to the man, 5, that means again, right? For her, it is faster than for him, and therefore we yeah, it's debatable whether we give 7 points because there will be a problem with the children. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. There's so much depth that we could take into this. Let's look at this. So this is a table published by Sanjay Rath in one of his in one of his articles, and I've learned in his tradition, and it's a really nice table. And if we count here from the woman to the man, then this is what we could predict. So all the slides are uploaded. So if you're doing this at home, then you can just go through this and you can just read it. In our example here, we would have the count of 3, which is favorable for friendship, for relationships. And in our example of our student, we would have, I mean, you know, the classics, always black and white. Definitely there will be compatibility and growth, but it can indicate loss of children. So that's something to watch out for. Okay. Now, next we have Rasya Deepa, and we have around 8 out of 12. So we're nearly through those. Rasya Deepa, in particular, looks at the planets lording the moon sign and if there's friendship between the lords. If there's friendships, then we have 5 points. If there is one is a friend, another is a neutral, then a little less. If both are neutral, even less, and both are enemies, then there is a little bit more enmity between them, right? So if you look, every planet has different friends, as we learned in our astrology class number 1 or 2. So in our example here, we have him. He has his moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is lorded by Mars. So we can look at Mars. Oops. And she has her moon in Capricorn, which is lorded by Saturn. So Saturn is enemies to Mars, while Mars is neutral to Saturn. So therefore, looking at our rules, we're here somewhere between 2 and 0 points. Some authors, they say, oh, if one is neutral and the other is an enemy, then they say, oh, we can give half a point, right? So now example, we can give half a point. And for the example of our student, Shagun, how many points can we give? Are you thinking with me?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you tell me?
I think we are friends. So Mars is a friends with Jupiter, but Jupiter is also friends with Mars.
Great. Yes, that is so nice. Full points for our students. I hope you take notes of all the points. Yeah, I'm not taking notes of the points. But even better than understanding just the points, yeah, it's good to understand the meaning. People get so caught up in like points, as if you could put a point on a relationship, right? That they do that in school as well, but you can't, right? You can't just point a person how good they are, so you can't point a relationship either. Okay, beautiful. So then we have Vasya. Vasya help. If Vasya exists, then there's more mutual love and attachment. Correct. Yes, that's right. So every sign has a Vasya Rashi, a Vasya sign. So certain signs, they just have Vasya for the signs. They just like them a bit more. You could try to break your head about what is the combination. I tried. I couldn't find a pattern. I was not taught a pattern. Those are things to memorize, or to have the table at least next to you when you do synastry. When we do synastry, it's good to have a lot of tables next to us. And Aries has Vasya with Leo and Scorpio, Taurus with Cancer and Libra, Gemini with Virgo, etc. So in our case, of our example, there's no Vasya. No, let's put an X. And for our students as well, we do not have Vasya, which is fine. Most of the time there will not be Vasya. If there's Vasya, oh, that's a great plus. Then we have Raju. Raju is a dosha, it's a flaw. If Raju is present, then it can indicate some difficulty. So different nakshatras have Rajus with other nakshatras. So in our example, we have Jeshta and Shravana, and they're in a different category, so there's no problem. If both nakshatras are in the same category, that can cause a problem, right? So in this example, in our other example, we have Uttara Bhadrapada and Anuradha, which are both in the category of Kati. So that is Raju dosha. And Kati would indicate poverty. Like, poverty is a hard word. It could just mean that potentially that these two nakshatras don't add to prosperity just by the virtue of that combination. It can just mean that there could be, we could predict if the couple comes to us for synastry, it could just mean, oh, maybe be prepared that business could be a bit slower or something like that, right? If the couple comes to you and one of them is just trying to start their business and about to get married, then just give them a disclaimer, right? So generally we try to avoid Raju dosha. Okay. Then we have Veda. So also there's two nakshatras. If they are Veda to each other, then that is a big problem. And if Veda is there, that is felt. That is definitely, of all the doshas I've seen, I mean, you can live with Raju dosha, but I've seen Veda. I don't know. I've not seen many couples with Veda dosha who are still together. So I'm putting that out there. And so in our case, we have Jeshta and Shravana. And you see Jeshta is here. Shravana is not even on the list, so it's here. No problem, no dosha, right? These are enemies here in those lines. In our other example, we have Uttara Bhadrapada and Revati, correct? So, no, sorry, not Revati. Uttara Bhadrapada and Anuradha. So also no problem. Okay, and then lastly, we are at Varna, right? And now I will answer Caleb's question as well, but why is Varna only 1 point, right? So Varna means color or caste or class, and it shows the spiritual development of the couple. It doesn't really show the spiritual development of the couple, you know? It doesn't really, like, it's not that easy. You can't just say that, you know, you can't say that Ashwini Nakshatra is a Brahmin, and it's people born under Ashwini, they're so much more developed than people born under Swati, right? Because Swati is a Shudra. No, that is very simplistic understanding. We can see the Varna in the horoscope, but not just through the Nakshatra. And this has definitely been overused in India. And that maybe is why it's given only 1 point, because it does not actually tell you a Varna, right? I remember when I was a new astrologer, like when I just started studying, and I read one book. I read this book. Yeah. You know, some people have seen I have a huge library. I read this book when I started. Nakshatras. My teacher recommended it. One of my mentors, she recommended it. And there he tells you this. The Varna according to the moon sign. And I was like, oh my God, my moon is in Scorpio. I'm a Brahmin. I'm an educator. I'm the highest class. Whew, right? But it's actually it doesn't work like that. So I had to realize much later it doesn't work like that. If we want to know the actual varna, the actual profession a person will take, then we will look at the gunas of the planets in the ascendant and conjunct the lagna lord, and that will tell us much more. But this is used a lot, and it does add something in general. If the varnas are compatible, then there is a little bit more of connection. So it is true. So ideally, varna can be looked at according to the moon sign or nakshatra. For this technique, I will use the nakshatra. And if the boy and the girl are of the same class, then that is beneficial for the longevity of the relationship. And if they're not the same, it is better if the boy's nakshatra is higher than that of the girl, just because it was written in India hundreds of years ago, where there was this idea that if the boy is of a higher class, then it will increase the love that she has for him, because she will always think, oh, he's just so intelligent, or he's just so able, and he just knows more than me, and then naturally gives more love in her heart, right? And all of compatibility, it's really just looking about the moon's nakshatra, the wife, the woman's nakshatra, and the men's, and it's really all about, will she be happy? That is actually the big point, much more than looking if he will be happy. So in our example, well, he's Jeshta, he's Pratilom nakshatra should only marry with each other according to Varna, and she's Shravan, which is where's Shravan? Oh, it should be here. I don't know, it has Revati twice, but Shravan should be here. So in this case, Varna is not present. In our other example, we have Anuradha, which is Anulam, and then we have Purva Bhadrapada. No, Uttara Bhadrapada, excuse me, getting confused. And according to this, any nakshatra out of the Anulam category is allowed to mix with any one of the higher classes, except for Pratilam. So therefore, in this example of Shagun and the two horoscopes she has given us, Varna exists. So we can give that 1 point. So here if we complete, oh, we have one more Nadi. Okay, Nadi. Yeah. Nadi tells us about the doshas. And again, it tells us more about the dosha according to nakshatra, but it is not just the moon's nakshatra that will give us our constitution, our Ayurvedic constitution. There's so many other factors in the horoscope that also matter. And this is division between Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, or Adi, Madhyam, and Antya. And generally, we don't like to mix nakshatras who have both the same nadi, or both the same dosha, the same constitution, because it is said to hamper can give problems with the children and with the the genes that get given in the future. And it also affects the temperaments a little bit, because Vata people, they're a little bit like, they're very airy and floaty and all out in the sky and off the ground, and they move really quickly. So if we put two Vata people together, they just get a bit too quickly moving. They just like lose their feet, right? And Pitta people, they're a little bit more fiery and fierce. And if we put two fiery people together, they just burn each other out. And of all the nadis we could put together, two Kapha people, they actually do well, because they're just soft and happy and content. So they actually, of all of them, they're a bit better. But ideally, we want to mix them. That's very nice. And again, it's just one part based on the moon's nakshatra. There are other things in the horoscope which will also affect our constitution and which can alter that. In our example, he's Jeshta, she is Shravana, and she's not Kapha. Okay. If you look at this person, she's not Kapha, but we can still use this technique. Nadi will be present. We can give 8 out of 8. And in our other example, we have Anuradha. Where's Anuradha? Swati, Anuradha, Uttara Bhadrapada. Uttara Bhadrapada. Yeah, two people who have Pitta. So again, it just means that In this case, Nadi would not be given. And it just means, again, it could be a little bit more difficult with children. And also it just means they're both quite fiery, right? So we would advise them, after you get married, spend a lot of time going to the beach, right? Go to the spa together, right? Take an ice bath together, right? Shagun, you pass that on, yeah? Okay, cool. So now what they do, B.V. Raman, he came up with that list, and basically he revived astrology. Astrology was just hidden in different families in India for thousands of years and hundreds of years. In India, it's not like one country. Like if anyone told you in geography class that India is one country, forget it, okay? India is not one country. India has many, many kingdoms, and they're completely different from each other, right? Like people in North India are really different to South India. People in different states, they speak different languages, they wear different dresses, they eat different foods, right? So for a long time, astrologers in different kingdoms, they would not communicate so much with each other because it was different, like different countries, before the internet, before all of that. Now, what happened was that, and then on top of that, India was ruled by the Muslims, and they destroyed temples for a long time. They burned libraries. They didn't make it really easy. And then after that, the British came, and the British, they mistranslated all of the Indian books. Like they mistranslated the Vedas to break the culture, because they were just thinking like, no one's listening to us. That culture is so strong. Everyone's just listening to the brahmanas, to the educated people. And the British have figured out that the people, they have so much faith in the priests, like in the educated class, and they have no faith in the British people. So they were thinking, what shall we do? So they hired actually a German person, Max Muller, and they got him to study Sanskrit and to mistranslate all of the books, to tell the Indian people what are they, like how weird it is what they're studying and how funny it is. And it actually worked. And even now, I think there was one book, I think Max Muller has a translation on the Srimad Bhagavatam, I think, or another part of the Vedas, and it's just all wrong. And India is the only country where they still sell his English translation. So the British, they just broke that culture. And the reason why I'm sharing that, because it just made it very difficult for astrology to blossom. So about 100 years ago, B.V. Raman, he revived astrology by publishing articles about astrology in English in a magazine. And he predicted about World War II, etc. And it gained a lot of attention because he was really good. And then other astrologers, they also came up with writing in English. And therefore, he revived all these ancient traditions which were hiding in so many corners of the country, because suddenly they all started speaking English. So it's always fun speaking together. And he brought attention to astrology. Now for compatibility's sake, he came up with the system of, there's 23 agreements that I showed you earlier. I won't go back all the way. 23 in Prashnamaga, right? And then a lot of other classics. We have like 15, 20, the same list. And Muhurta Chitamani has Nadi, so 24. But he chose 12 out of those. He just chose 12 to make it easy. And then out of those 12, 8 of them he gave points. And that was his opinion, right? It's not like, it's not like the universe said that is it. That was his opinion. And that is a very commonly used system. That's why I'm sharing it with you. And it has some value, but it's not everything. Okay, great. So in our example of our horoscopes, actually Mahendra is present, which is pretty cool. And then, if you count all the points together, we would have 24.5 out of 36 points. And in general, B.V. Raman would say, well, if it is more than 18, that is good. 18 to 24 is a moderate, that's moderate. That's you can do it. You can go ahead. 25 to 30 is good, and 30 to 36 is excellent. That was his statement. In all honesty, I know people who are married together. They have 5 out of 36, and they're still married together. Okay, like I heard him say that I hate her, and on the same day I heard her say, I hate him, but at the end of the day, they were all good, so, and they're still together, and they will be together for forever, right? So it's not the end of the world. And they have other factors in the horoscope which make up for it. Because as I mentioned earlier, there's 20 points. And guess what? This Ashtakuta, it's only 1 out of 20 or 2 out of 20, right? So it is not the full picture, but it's a good introduction. It's nice for contemplation and to seeing what else is there in the world. And I've also seen couples who have 36 out of 36. And their relationship broke. So does this make the system useless? No, it doesn't make it useless. We just have to understand it, right? It's like when we go to school, there's some people who have all A's, and then after school, they just take drugs and they never make it to university, right? And they're just like the whole life goes down. And then there's some people, they don't finish school, but they just got the brain and they put it together and they start their business and they become billionaires, right? Because we cannot judge a person from a number. So I just want to point that out. We cannot judge a person from a number. But hey, like if Nadi dosha is not present, then we want to make sure that she really takes care of her health for pregnancy, right? And he really takes care of his health for pregnancy. If Yoni is not present, then you want to speak with the couple that, yeah, okay, that one area of their life, maybe they have different opinions, and that's okay. Maybe just focus on other areas, right? So in that sense, there's a lot of use for that. Okay. Now, there's, I hope that's not too complicated. There's some other opinions, and they say, so as I mentioned, like Sarvata Siddhi gives 20 items, Prashnama gives 23, Muhurta Bharana gives a few, Madhava gives 15. Now, this is an interesting opinion. In Muhurta Bharana, the author says, if Janma Rashi, Lord of Janma Rashi, Mahendra, Yoni, and Vasya present, oh no, he said also 5 are important. There was another author, Kalaka Krishika. He says, if 5 or more are there, then marriage can be performed. So, forget the points. Even if 5 are there, that is good. So again, just these different layers to it. And any astrologer you ever speak to in your life, right? Everyone knows about Ashtakuta. And if they don't know astrology, this is the only thing they will use. And that's the only thing they will know. So now you will know as much as probably every second astrologer in India. You know, I shouldn't say that. All respects to all the pundits in India. Just a little bit on that. Okay. So now a little hack. Okay. So you can have these slides. You could do it for yourself. There's a hack, like a little hack, and like a life hack. And I was not sure what to share with you or not, but I just shared with you. So these days, there's all kind of computer softwares and things like that. You know, people ask ChatGPT for their astrology, right? So all these things exist. And there is this website that has a lot of good things. I mean, it has a lot of advertisement as well, but so there is this site here, which really has a lot of advertisement because it is free, right? It's a free website. It's called Drik Panchang. And if you go on Drik Panchang, you go into Yotish, you go to a horoscope match, you can enter the name of the boy, you can, and then that's wrong actually, right? First should come the name of the girl and then should come the name of the boy. But besides that, you enter the name of the boy, you enter the birth date, you enter the time, you enter the city, and then you submit it, and then it will calculate your Ashtakuta, right? Wow, we just saved ourselves so much work. And it does not calculate the the things that don't give points. It does not calculate Mahendra, it does not calculate Raju, it does not calculate Veda, it does not calculate Sri Dirga. It just calculates those 8 points. Because as time progresses, and as things get more commercial, everything deteriorates, right? We learned that in Astrology 101. Saturn, he rules decay. And Saturn also rules the masses. So therefore, once anything that commercializes, it decays, right? Like your favorite rock band, when they became famous, then suddenly they lost that purity, that honesty. Or maybe honesty is the right word, that authenticity. So you can calculate it, you can have a look. It calculates the 8 of them. It calculates Vasya a little different, but you can play with it, right? So we could keep it here, or I also wanted to teach you one more thing, and actually I'm going to teach you one more thing. So, and that is Sambandha. And Sambandha is quick, it is easy, it is great, it is really great. I would nearly put as much importance on Sambandha as I would put on Yashtakuta. And Sambandha means connection, means relationship, right? Sambandha actually means a relationship. So we can look at the relationship between the horoscopes and in order, and this is not actually something that is classically used, like it is not Impreshna Marga, it is not actually, it is in the classics, but it's kind of secret. And it's very nice. So we can look at the Sambandha between 2 planets and 2 horoscopes. And again, like now, we already looked so much of the moon. We could look as well on a particular for Venus, for love and romance, for Jupiter, for children and worldview, like for ethics, for Mercury, for communication. And then also we can look at all the other planets, but particularly those 4, like the moon, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, it's like gold, right? It's like gold. You can see it so quickly, so easily. Very, very insightful. Then there's some more lunar chemistry that we could look at that was not part of the 24 categories, right? I could throw in another category because that's how the categories started, right? There were different astrologers, different villages, they were reading the classics, they observed some things. There's a few more things there. We could look at Mars and Venus. Even if there's no Yoni Kutta, there's no sexual compatibility according to the nakshatras, well, if Mars and Venus are favorably placed from each other, we can make up for it. We could look at the chart overlay, Lagna Lords, those things we're not going to do today. But let's do those 4 things. We can do it in a very short time. So there's different relationships that the planets can have with each other. So I wish I have an example chart. Yeah, great, I do. So planets could be in the same zodiac sign, right? And if planets are in the same zodiac sign, we call that yoga. Yoga means union, right? And how do we interpret that? It means that there is union. There's shared intention, right? There's the same worldview. She has her moon in Scorpio. He has his moon in Scorpio. They look at the world in the same way. This world is a dangerous place, right? So he has his moon in Leo. I'm very important. She has her moon in Leo. I'm very important, right? So great. There, that's good. That's good. There's some connection there. Then the next alternative is that they're 2 or 12 houses away from each other. But actually, let's give another example. We can do that for the other planets as well. If Venus is in Libra, right? In Libra, Venus in Libra means the way they love, they're very diplomatic. Libra is such a diplomatic sign. So the way they approach relationships is like the relationship, it's a contract, it's a business deal, it's give and take. And both of them think like that. Both are Venus and Libra, so great. So then there's what we call 212. And 212, this, for those of you who know houses, the 2nd house is gains. The 12th house is losing. So there's an unequal relationship between the 2, right? It means one person's giving much more and the other person's losing. And in our modern world, usually it just means that both are unhappy. Yeah. So we look from one planet in the horoscope to the other planet in the horoscope. Okay. That's how we're looking. From his moon to her moon. From her Venus to his Venus, for example. Then we have the relationship 3-11. 3, the 3rd house is karma, is desire, and the 11th house is labha, is gain. So that's great. Like there's desire, there's gain, there's like that mutual gain, there's that reciprocity. It's okay, right? We enter that relationship. I want to gain something from it. You want to gain something from it. We both winning. That is so nice. Such a great relationship. Like it's actually very nice. It is not, we should not look down on it. It's, I've seen, very positive. It also means there's friendship. They help each other to achieve their goals, right?
Sorry, is this the relationship between the ascendants?
Exactly. I was about to say that. I was thinking in your mind, you could look at the ascendants and do exactly the same thing. But for our purpose, we will do it with the planets. Okay?
So when you do it with the planets, so you do like Venus and Venus,
And you
Mars
take
and
the sign.
Mars,
Yes.
Jupiter and Jupiter, all that kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. We will do it here in our example charts. And but that's how you do it. You put the charts on top of each other, right? Just think about it. You are a walking chart. Right? The chart is there. It's ingrained in your subtle body, in your psyche, all right? You have sun in the first house. Like you were born, sun was in the first house. Sun was rising when you, rising when you were born. Sun's in the first house. Strong sense of self, right? Person who have strong sense of self. They would think they're really important. So it was there at birth in the horoscope, but it's in them, right? So you're a walking chart. So whenever you meet someone, like there is that exchange. Cool. So 410, it's Kendra Sambandha. It's cooperative action. They're supporting each other. It is fine. 5-9 is one of the best relationships as well. Trikon Sambandha, there's harmony. There's a shared purpose. It's very, very nice. And then we have 6-8, where 6 house enemies, 8 house death. So there's conflict and friction. If the planets are 6-8 from each other, one person's the perpetrator, the other person's the victim, right? It creates tension. If the signs are lorded by the same planet, it will mitigate it, but 6-8 relationships will create tensions, and 2-12 as well. And then we have the opposition, which is 7-7. And opposition is also great. They complement each other. So in order, I personally would say that that's my opinion, okay? In terms of points, if I would give points, yeah, 5-9 is the best. It's really nice. 7-7 is also good. It's complementary. Just sometimes it could create some tension just because opposite views, but it's great. 3-11 also we can put in that category. It's really good. 1-1 is also pretty good. Just the same. And 4-10 is also, it's good, like half a star, right? If I would give points. But they're all good, but just how good they are. And then 6-8 is really bad. And 2-12 is pretty bad. Okay? And how you do it, if you see it in a horoscope, if there's just 1 6-8, it's okay, manageable. If there's 2 6-8s, then yeah, it's felt. And if there's 3 planets 6-8, my teacher, one of my teachers who's done astrology for over 50 years, he said in his whole life he has not seen any marriage last that has more than 3 planets in a 6-8 relationship from each other. And he doesn't say it can't work, he just says he hasn't seen it yet. So I also haven't seen it, I'm still waiting. But yeah, so that is important to note. And it's easy to see. Thank you so much, Shiny. I think it was amazing that you made it all the way until here. I hope this was interesting. I think something else, right? Something different to maybe what you usually hear on a Tuesday afternoon, evening.
Yeah, definitely. I came into this with like fresh eyes. I don't know much about this at all, so there's a lot there, but yeah, very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Shiny. Have a good day.
Thanks, bye.
Okay, so now how would we do that? Well, if we look at the horoscope, then we can see that we can just put the horoscopes on top of each other. So here I have example girl, example boy. And we can just put them on top, right? There's another software which is free to use, deva.guru. I will show you for those of you who don't know. And it has the option to overlay charts. So you don't have to do it in your head. So here we could count from these planets, right? So if you would count, you look at the moon first, the moons, one moon from the other, it is 3-11, right? So that's great. Venus is 4-10, that's nice. Jupiter is 2-12, oh, problem, right? So then we could say that, oh, maybe there's different opinions in the realm of children or religiosity, etc. Is that a deal breaker? No, one planet is not a deal breaker. We just know there's just different ideas. So, well, I'm not going to go for this example, but you understand the point, right? That is easy to use. Does that make sense? Does everyone understand that? And it's always an inclusive count.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I think it's super cool. Like, oh my God, it's super cool. Now, there's another thing which is, and we're nearly done, right? There's lunar chemistry, which is looking at planetary conjunctions with the moon. And again, it's not in the classics, but I've seen it give really good results. If, for example, his or her moon conjoins or is opposite from the sun of the other partner, that gives a lot of connection. If the sun and moon of one person and the other conjoin or opposite, it gives a lot of connection. Which makes sense. The moon is our mind. It's such an important planet. And the sun is our self, right? Our self-identity. So there's this mutual connection between the two. And it's very great. If there's not many people in the Ashtakuta, if there is this lunar chemistry, it can balance it quite significantly. The same is true also if one person's moon hits the other person's Lagna or 7th house. That also can give very good lunar chemistry. Or if Venus conjoins or is opposite to moon. Then if that is not there, even if the moon is at least trine or sextile, I think sextile means 311. It's a Western term. I hope I spelled it correctly. That would be very embarrassing. But that is what it refers to here, right? That is also permissible. So that is also acceptable. So for example, in this horoscope, if you look at her moon, at his moon, if her sun would be in any of these houses, they are referred to as sextile houses or trines, then that would be good. Same as well for moon and lagna. And then there's the AL, the A7, the UL, but we covered that in another class. So using this technique again, here you can count. I hope Shagun is looking at her at the two horoscopes and she can check up on those matters. Yeah. Okay, great. And then we could look at Mars and Venus also for sexual compatibility. And in general, if we can, so far, so I'm teaching another technique and we could go so much deeper into any of them. But so far here, we were looking at the planets with the same planet with the same planet. Well, here we're introducing the idea of looking at the moon and other planets like Sun and Venus, Lagna, etc. Well, guess what? You could check from any planet to any other planet, right? So here we're looking at Mars and Venus in particular for physicality and sexuality. And if from one person's Mars to the other person's Venus, there is a conjunction or trine or sextile, that is favorable. While squares and oppositions, they are a little bit more unfavorable. And in general, it is good if one person has one trine or conjunction, like here in the green area, and one person has one in the red area, because that means there's a little bit of tension. Like sometimes, especially in our Western culture, things are too easy. It can make it more difficult. So in practical reality, one astrologer, this was actually not my tradition, it's not a traditional teaching, but I've seen it work. So one astrologer presented a nice research paper on this, and that is also something worth to consider. So therewith, we can complete and then we could look at that, and technically we could give that points too, right? Like why only give points to the Ashtakuta, right? So if you wanted to, we give points to that. We also want to consider it. I just want to show you that there is more, and we don't want to base everything just on one part. And then there's many more techniques, like we could look put the charts on top of each other and see which houses the planets fall in and predict for that. But let's skip that. And how you can do it? Well, there is this free software that anyone can use that got made by one astrologer in my tradition, way on top of me, way before me. And he made this beautiful software. It's called deva.guru. You can enter your birth details. And then here you can go to overlay and tick overlay over here. And then you can just add any chart that you would like if you have them saved. And then it will put it over in blue. So that is one way of utilizing this if you want to follow that up on at home. Okay, great. So yeah, that finishes my presentation on relationship synastry. I hope that was interesting to all of you here in class or all of you who are watching it. I know that was a lot of information to digest, but if you like to learn more, and if you would like to learn all the 20 points of synastry, well, I'd be happy to teach, but it does require a little bit of a background in astrology. So we have, I mean, mostly everyone who's here is actually enrolled in my course. But for other people who are listening, we have another course come up in about 4 weeks, and some people have already enrolled, and we still have some spots left. So if you would like to learn more about synastry, if you would like to learn more about astrology, about yourself, we have a beginner's course come up in a few weeks. And for those of you who are already in that course, well, we also have further study opportunities once you finish. So if you like to go deeper, we have a whole year course come up next year. And you're all welcome to take it to the next level, right? Okay, cool. And if you wanted to jump on a call with me, even if you're listening to the recording, you can just click on the link below this video and you can book a call with me, and I can just give you a next step in terms of your life, in terms of your astrology, in terms of your relationships, in terms of different opportunities. And yeah, is there any questions that you would have, that anyone has? Let me stop this. Okay. Was this entertaining? Was this too mathematical?
It was really good.
Really good? Oh, thank you so much.
I think it was good. It was good. Yeah. There's, like you said, there's a lot of material to get through. So I think you've done well getting through.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I'm going to put this into the next book, right? So yeah, there's so much. That's amazing thing about astrology. Like when I in the beginning, I didn't believe in astrology actually, and I thought it's just so hocus pocus. But once you actually read up on it, you realize, oh my God, that's just so scientific. It is so vast, right? Our whole life is there written in the stars. It is real. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, but there's so many hidden little things, so you don't want to miss anything, right?
True. So yeah, in our 1 year course, we really go into depth and into every single detail. So you're all welcome to join our 1 year course. Today's class was a bit of an introduction to the topic of synastry, just to showcase that. And even our 12-week course, it is an introduction to, these are the different compartments, and at least half of you present here, you are in the 10th week. So you know about a lot of realms of astrology. We spent 1 week on yogas, right? In our 1 year course, we spent 1 month on it, and we have a little bit more material to go through. And so in the same way also, we can spend a month on understanding the moon and the nakshatras, and there's a few more components that we didn't get to cover, and we can spend a whole month on that. So yeah. Thank you, Andy.
So the 1 year course, is that every Thursday, or what day would that be? Once a week or twice a week, or?
Maybe once a week. I haven't decided yet. At the moment, it's written on Thursday, but I might move it around. Do you have any suggestion?
Thursday is good. Thursday is good.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was thinking of doing it on Thursday. I just have to. Thursdays is nice because it's Jupiter's day, right? So traditionally, Thursday is the best day to teach anything. So that's why I put it all on Thursday. Get the blessings of Jupiter.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Shagun, for giving us two amazing examples. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you, Alani. Thank you, Munish. Thank you, Kirti. Thank you, Ganga. See you all.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful evening.
Very good.